Okay, this chapter, chapter 3, is on proportion, direct and inverse proportion. Inverse proportion. So, what I'm going to do is a quick summary. In direct proportion, there are two types of question you must know. The first type is on equation related, and the other one is problem sum. And in inverse proportion, similarly, you have the equation and the problem sum. So, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go through the problem sum for direct proportion first before I go to the equation. Now, the difference between direct and inverse proportion is in direct proportion, if you have two variables A and B, if this goes up, this also B also goes up. So, for example, you have one apple is $1. 10 apples will be $10. So when one apple goes up, the other apple, the amount of money also goes up. So this is called direct proportion. In the case of inverse proportion, for example, A and B, A represents the time, let's say the number of people to paint a house. 10 people can paint one house in one day. But if you have 5 people, this is reduced. Will the time taken reduce? No, it will be increased, be doubled. So it takes 2 hours to finish. So this is inverse proportion, direct inverse proportion. So in the case of direct proportion, I am not going to spend so much time on the problem sum. I think it's quite simple. I will spend a little bit more time on the equation part. So example one, okay, given y is directly proportional to x and x equals to 3 when y equals to 8. Find the equation. So this is a standard question. They say y is directly proportional. So if I were you during the exam, many students always mix between direct and inverse proportion. My advice to you is highlight, or you it's best not to highlight in the exam, but sorry, what did I erase? Let me write it back again. This is direct. Let me try and see whether I can highlight. Okay. Just give me one moment. Okay, it's taking too much time. Okay. So it's direct proportion. So when it's direct proportion, you got to remember y equals to k times of x. The left side is this, and the right side is this, and you must add the k. Eventually, you must find what is k. So, but they will give you a clue. They gave you that when x is 3, y is 8. When 8, k is 3. Remember to put the bracket. In this case, k you will know is 8 over 3. And you cannot leave the answer like this because they asked you to find the equation. So you must rewrite back y equals to 8 over 3x. Okay, I'm going to give you one example. You try it out by yourself. Example 2. Given y is directly proportional to square of x. One moment. And x equals to 8 when y equals to 1. Find the equation. You can pause and then you can try this down by yourself. Okay, I'm going to give the answer. Y equals to kx squared. Why is it x squared? Because they say it's the square of x. And I know when x is 8, y is 1. 1 is k, 8 square. 1 is 64k. K is 1 over 64. So when I write the answer, y equals to 1 over 64 x squared. This is the equation. But usually the question doesn't stop over here. The question will follow on and then ask you to find something else. Let me share with you one particular question and then we will see how you proceed from here. Okay. Example 3. Given y is directly proportional to x squared, y equals to 20 when x equals to 2. Okay. Find the equation. There are few parts to this. B, find the value of x when y equals to 5. Part 3, draw, or maybe not draw, the keyword should be sketch. Sketch the graph, sketch the graph of y against x squared. This is a typical exam question. You can pause and then you can try it by yourself. Okay, I'm giving you the answer. So for this first case, y is directly proportional to x squared. So I write y equals to kx squared. And I know y equals to 20 when x is 2. So I'm going to write down 20 is equals to k2 square. So I know 4k is equals to 20. And I will get k is equals to 5. The first part say find the equation. So the equation is y equals to 5x squared. Part A. The part B say find the value of x when y is 5. Sorry, there's a mistake. Find the values. So when y is 5, 5 is 5x squared divided by 5. X squared is equals to 5 divided by 5 is 1. Now remember, whenever you take square root on both sides, you need to put a plus minus. So the answer is x equals to 1 or minus 1. So look out for the clue. The exam, if they say values, so there are possibly two answers. Okay, and part C is sketch the graph of y against x squared. All direct proportion are straight lines passing through the origin. Okay, so in this case, maybe we can ignore the negative portion for this particular case. Sorry, but it's a straight line passing through the origin. Okay, because the x squared cannot be negative, that's why I removed the negative portion. Good. Okay. Okay, now let me go to inverse proportion. Inverse proportion, again, similarly, the equation, for example, example 3, y is inversely proportional to x, and x equals to 3 when y equals to 10. Find the equation. So I'm going to write y. You can pause and then you can try. But when it's inverse, y is k over x. Remember, it must be denominator. You must push this to the denominator. So when x is 3, k over 3, y is 10. So you can use your cross multiplication, k is 30. And the equation is therefore y equals to 30 over x. And then you can solve thereafter. A graph of y and x is like this. For a inverse proportion, it is this curve. Okay, it doesn't touch the x or y axis. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on the problem sum related to this inverse proportion. Okay, example maybe 5, I can't remember. 10 taps can fill a tank in 4 hours. How long will it take? 8 taps. You can pause and then you can try it again by yourself. Okay, good. So this is normally how I taught you in class. I taught you tap and hours. You know clearly this is a inverse proportion question. I will write 10 taps. It takes 4 hours. So normally what I do, I try to find 1 tap. How do I get? I divide by 10. But over here, I multiply by 10. So 1 tap will take 40 hours. If I want 8, I multiply by 8. I divide by 8. And then I get 5 hours. So 8 tabs will take 5 hours to fill. In the case of inverse proportion, when you divide on one side, you multiply on the other side. One last question, and I think that's the end of this chapter. I'm just trying to see which question that I can give you. Okay, just try this example. Given y is inversely proportional to square root of x equals to 4 when y equals to 10. Find the equation. Pause and you can try. Okay, I'm going to give you the answer. Y is inversely proportional to square root of x. X is 4 when y is 10. So let me repeat, k over square root of 4. Now this square root is given to you, so you don't put plus minus. You only put plus minus when you write the square root by yourself. Okay, so in this case 10 is k over 2, k is actually 20, and the equation is y is 20 over square root of x. That's the answer. Okay, good. That covers the basics of chapter 3.